Welcome to Seller Performance Solutions. I am Leah and Piotr of e-commerce Chris, and today I am here with Piotr of Uncapped, who is here today to talk about accessing funds, particularly this time of year as everybody is rushing into Q4 with the recent announcement for Prime Day. I think a lot of sellers are looking at their liquidity and trying to figure out what they can do right now. Piotr, I'm sure you've had many people reach out to you already.
We did. Yeah, I think it's busy seasons ahead of us. So we are looking forward helping the merchants stock up ahead of the biggest quarter of the year.
Yeah, especially, 23 days to go until Prime Day. By the time this publishes, it'll be 20 days until
Yeah.
Prime Day. So a lot of people are suddenly reassessing their inventory needs and trying to figure out how they can get everything that they need into FBA in time for all of these busy seasons. So in terms of accessing funding with you guys, what does that process look like and how long does it take?
It really depends from the size of a merchant. So
Okay.
for the smaller merchants, the ones doing, up to $1 million revenue per year,
hmm
we actually try to do it probably within the same day, to be
Oh, wow.
honest. You go, you connect your data, and what we really need from a smaller merchant is just access to their Amazon accounts
hmm
and access to their bank accounts, either through, the Plaid connection. So, just, give us the read-only access to the account, or we ask for the bank statements.
Yep.
From larger merchants, those doing more than $1 million revenue per year, we have a 7, 8, 9-figure merchants.
hmm
We're also asking for some accounting data. So, we want to understand more about, the debt and few other aspects of
Yep.
the books. And I think then you should expect, one more day when it comes to the decision-making process.
That
But
makes sense.
yeah,
More than
usually
likely.
if you apply by Monday, I think by Wednesday you should have money on your bank account.
Okay, wow. Yeah, that's great. And so besides speed, because obviously that's a lot faster than a traditional loan, why should sellers look for your type of seller funding as opposed to, say, a more traditional type of business funding?
I think speed, of course, is number one, but
Yeah.
secondly, it was the security. Like, we don't take personal guarantee. You don't basically completely unsecured loan, which means that you don't have to be too stressed about the impacts taking it can have on your personal life
hmm
if something were to go wrong. I also think we're very, very competitive on pricing. Frankly, like we've seen, what some competitors are charging, and I've just seen some posts on one of the groups that we are, half price versus our competitor.
Oh,
I
wow.
have to say we are fairly selective. So, our strategy has always been we want to work with good quality merchants, good
Mhm.
quality sellers, but for them, we offer the best product available.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. Especially, I mean, it's just a volatile marketplace in general. So
Exactly.
it
Exactly.
it makes sense that you would want to work with
Exactly.
good quality sellers for sure. But it's
Exactly.
great that I didn't realize you guys were so affordable. So that's good to know.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then in terms of repayment structure, how does that work? Because I know everybody does it a little bit differently.
So I've actually created a LinkedIn post recently how we moved away from so-called revenue-based financing some time
Mhm.
ago, and we offer a fixed-term repayment products to our merchants. So we agree with a merchant upfront the repayment schedule of a loan.
Okay.
And I would say on average, for a smaller merchant, usually the repayment is over 4, 5, 6 months. And for the highest quality merchants, it's, 12 to 18 months.
Mhm.
For the larger merchants, what we also offer is a product we call line of credit, where we actually give you a facility from which you can draw the money up to the limit at any time you want. And as
Okay.
you repay the money, you can top it up. So our best merchants, always have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 million borrowed from us at any time, and whatever is repaid when they need it, they borrow again.
Nice. So you're like the American Express of seller funding, basically.
Exactly that.
Yeah.
This was kind of the idea. You take the money as you need, because I speak with hundreds of merchants every month, they're always telling me, I want two things. I want the certainty of funding,
Hmm.
and we give it to them. Like, this is the contract we sign, and we fully commit to the amount.
Yep.
And I want the flexibility of the money. Like, some other companies are forcing you to take all the money up front,
Hmm.
and even though a fee might be lower, but you are paying on the money you don't need.
Right.
Sometimes it's better to pay slightly more, but use much less, or use much more effectively. And this is what we're trying to offer.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. Why pay for funding that you don't need at that
Exactly.
time? No, that's great. That's actually quite perfect because I mean, the dealing with cash flow, particularly on Amazon, I mean, e-commerce in general is difficult with cash flow, but with
Yeah,
Amazon, where at any point they can decide to hold some of your funds for a while, or account
absolutely.
compromises, uh, stops your payout for a few weeks. It's definitely something that a lot of
We've
sellers run
seen that.
into, particularly this time of year when everybody's building, getting into the
Yeah.
Q4 season. Which leads me to my next question, which isn't exactly funding based. But as we are heading into the busiest time of year for a lot of sellers, what is your number one tip as somebody who is talking to a lot of Amazon sellers every day?
My number one tip is really plan the inventory management very well. I see the merchants. I think, first of all, it might be surprising, but I think it's better to understock than overstock. My fiance, she is also the entrepreneur, and she
Okay.
runs a business, and I've seen in our family the pitfall of overstocking and how
Hmm.
draining it is to have hundreds of thousands or millions stuck in the inventory you can't move and you can't sell. And
Yeah.
like, you're thinking, gosh, I could have turned around this money so many times, and now I have this inventory. And sometimes you have to either liquidate it,
Hmm.
or you have to wait a year to sell it.
Right.
Very, very expensive. So I would say, be careful. Learn to walk before you learn how to try to run,
Yeah.
because I think this is probably the number one mistake that the seller can do.
Yeah, no, that's great. I like that because that's actually the opposite of what people usually say. People are usually like, get as much inventory as you can because you never know what keys. I like yours a lot better because I think I think a lot of people do get in trouble and they get stuck with a lot of inventory that they then have to try to offload in
And
Q1.
yeah, and I think, listen, like, we still don't know how strong the economy will be. We don't
Hmm.
know how Q4 this year, how strong will it be? What will be
Right.
the mood of the shoppers? How much free money will they have to buy gifts to everyone? Buy this thing. I think you can make up this money next year, but if you overstock, like, you can really shoot yourself in the foot, and you'll have a problems. You'll have problem with paying your suppliers, repaying
Yeah.
the debt, like, just spiral, which you don't want to fall into.
Yeah, absolutely. And then if it's an FBA, you have to pay to get it out of FBA so they don't charge you
Exactly.
overstock fees. Yeah, no, absolutely.
Exactly.
I totally agree with you. Awesome. Thank you so much for that. That was perfect. And then last question, if people wanted to reach you or reach Uncapped, what is the best way for them to do that?
Our website is weareuncapped.com. And if you want to speak to me personally, my email is PIOTR. We are uncapped. I'm also very active on LinkedIn, Twitter. And listen, like, I love to talk to the merchants clients. So feel free to drop me an email as well.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Have a happy Q4. I hope it's busy for you guys. I'm sure it will be.
It will be, and good luck to all the listeners. I hope you sell through everything, and happy Prime Day to zero.
Yeah, exactly. Happy Prime Day, everyone. Looking forward to a busy Q4.
Thank you.